The first time I met Jungkook, it was nothing out of the ordinary, a simple introduction, a few exchanged words, and the undeniable charm in his eyes that pulled me in like gravity. 2 years later, we had built a relationship that felt unbreakable, or so I thought. Jungkook was everything to me, the love of my life, my home, but there was always one lingering shadow in our relationship, his best friend Sujin. She had been in his life long before I came along, their bond so deep that sometimes it felt like there was no space left for me. I tried to ignore it at first, telling myself that friendships like theirs were normal, but as time passed, the lines blurred. The way she clung to him, the way she interrupted our moments, the way she always needed him, it was suffocating. Jungkook, being the man he was, never wanted to make me uncomfortable. He tried, he really did. Whenever we both were together, he made sure not to involve Sujin too much, understanding my silent discomfort. But Sujin, she was another story. She didn't care about limits, nor did she seem to respect them. "You're overthinking again," he said gently, squeezing your hand as you both sat in your favorite cafe. "Sujin and I have been friends forever. She's like a sister." You looked at him, you knew he didn't see her that way, but she was crossing her boundaries and he was too hesitant to confront her. "Jungkook, a sister doesn't hold onto your arm every time she sees you. She doesn't whisper in your ear when I'm standing right there. She doesn't act like I'm the outsider in my own relationship." He sighed, pulling back slightly. "She doesn't mean any harm. You just need to understand." "No, you need to understand." You interrupted, voice softer now. "I love you, but I need to feel like I matter too." He pulled you into a hug. "You matter, love. I promise I'll never make you feel this way, okay?" You nodded, although you still fear if that leash will understand that too. His words seemed to settle some of the unease in your chest, but there was still a knot that lingered. "I need to feel it, Jungkook. I need to feel that I'm the only one you want, that you'll choose me even when things get difficult. I'll prove it to you every single day. You don't have to worry about anyone else taking my place because you are irreplaceable to me. I love you more than I ever knew I could love someone." His words, full of sincerity and warmth, wrapped around your heart like a protective shield. And you finally allowed yourself to relax into his embrace, trusting in the love he was offering. Jungkook was waiting outside your office, leaning against his car with his hands tucked into his pockets. He checked his watch, a small smile tugging at his lips as he anticipated the date night you both had planned. But just before you could step out, Sujin appeared. "Jungkook?" She called out cheerfully, jogging towards him. Jungkook stiffened slightly but forced a polite smile. "Sujin, what are you doing here?" "I was in the area. It's been forever, so I thought I would drop by. Old time's sake," she said, linking her arm with his casually. Jungkook hesitated, clearly uncomfortable, but he didn't pull away. "But what are you doing here?" Came to Big Vian. He nodded. "Yeah, actually, we are going on dinner tonight." "Whoa, enjoying much while I was away, huh?" She laughed. "I'm just joking. It's good, really." He forced a smile and also unlinked his arms. That's when you stepped out of the building, adjusting your coat with a happy smile. You were so happy to finally have a peaceful night with Jungkook, but the moment your eyes landed on Sojin, standing close to Jungkook, your smile faltered. "Hey, it's been so long." Sujin greeted you with the brightest smile, as if she wasn't the reason for your discomfort. You forced a polite nod. "Yeah, it has." Sujin pouted. "I was just telling Jungkook how much I missed him. I mean, he's so busy nowadays. Thought we could catch up." You clear your throat. Actually, Jungkook and I have a date planned tonight. Sojin blinked innocently and looked at Jungkook. Oh, is it a problem if I join? Just for a little while? Jungkook hesitated. He knew you wouldn't like this. But the moment Sojin gave him that expectant look, he sighed. I guess it's fine. You clenched your jaw and looked at him in disbelief, but said nothing. Your night was already ruined. Sitting across from Jungkook at the restaurant, you barely touched your food. Sojin, on the other hand, was laughing and chatting non-stop, completely oblivious or perhaps purposefully ignoring the tension in the air. And do you remember that one time in college, Jungkook, when we sneaked into the stadium at night? That was insane. Sojin giggled, nudging his arm. Jungkook chuckled awkwardly. Yeah, that was a crazy night. You tapped your fork against your plate, irritation bubbling up inside you. Jungkook reached for your hand under the table, trying to soothe you, but you pulled back, crossing your arms. Jungkook sighed but didn't push it. He stood up. I'll go get the drinks. Be right back. The moment Jungkook was out of sight, you looked at Sojin. You never doubted Jungkook's intentions because he only sees her as a sister, but you hate that he never talked to her about keeping the boundaries. He didn't want to hurt her when you were hurting here, so you decided to talk to her directly. You leaned forward, your tone was firm. Sojin, you really don't know your limits, do you? Sojin raised an eyebrow. Excuse me? You exhaled sharply. Jungkook and I planned this date. It was supposed to be our night. But here you are acting like this is some reunion party. Do you even realize how much you interfere in our relationship? Sojin scoffed, tilting her head. Oh, come on. I have known Jungkook longer than you. Why are you so insecure? Your fingers clenched into fist under the table. It's not about insecurity, it's about respect. You need to understand that Jungkook is in a relationship now. He's not the same person who was always available for you whenever you needed attention. Just because he didn't say anything for the sake of friendship doesn't mean you'll cross all your boundaries. Sojin leaned back, scoffing, arms crossed. Wow, you are really something. You narrowed your eyes. And you are selfish. Jungkook returned holding a tray with drinks, but the moment he stepped closer, he sensed something was off. The air between you and Sojin was thick with tension. Your fingers clenched into fist beneath the table. His brows furrowed. Everything okay? Sojin let out a shaky breath, lowering her head as if gathering herself. Then she abruptly stood up, grabbing her purse with trembling hands. I should go. She muttered, her voice weak, eyes glistening with unshed tears. Jungkook stiffened. Sojin, what happened? His eyes darted between the two of you, concern creeping into his expression. She sniffled dramatically. I didn't think Ryan would dislike me this much. I know you are together now, but I never meant to intrude. I just wanted to catch up with my best friend, but I guess I should have known better. She gave you a hurt glance before lowering her gaze, playing the victim perfectly. Your jaw tightened. This was exactly what you feared, her twisting the situation to make you look like the villain. But you remained silent, knowing that anything you said now would only worsen the situation. The only way to end this was to not engage. Jungkook exhaled, shifting uncomfortably. He turned to you, his tone laced with disbelief. Did you really say that to her? You looked at him, eyes betraying the heartbreak blooming in your chest. You had expected him to ask, but the weight of his gaze, the way his voice wavered with doubt, sent a sharp ache through you. You swallowed the lump in your throat and stayed silent. If he truly knew you, he wouldn't need an explanation. But your silence only fueled his frustration, his jaw clenched, his fingers gripping the edge of the table. Ryan, say something. Did you tell her to stay away from me? You kept your gaze down, blinking rapidly to push back the sting in your eyes. It wasn't worth it. This battle wasn't worth fighting anymore. Jungkook's patience snapped. His voice rose, laced with disappointment. Damn it, Ryan. Why won't you just tell me the truth? Do you really hate Sujin that much? She's been in my life for years. I told you that I only love you and will forever. Don't you trust me? Now you'll also decide who stays in my life and who goes. That broke you. Your head snapped up, eyes meeting his with raw hurt. His words felt like a slap, confirming the bitter reality you had been trying to deny. He still hesitated when it came to her, even if he was trying, even if deep down he knew you weren't at fault. He wasn't strong enough to stop this cycle. A bitter chuckle left your lips. You know what, Jungkook? Forget it. I'm done. You pushed back your chair, standing up abruptly. Enjoy your time with your best friend. I hope she was worth ruining our night over. Jungkook's expression changed instantly, regret flickering in his eyes, but you didn't give him a chance to speak. You turned and walked away, heart shattering with every step, knowing that this moment had just changed everything between you two. Jungkook stood frozen, the weight of his own words hitting him like a punch to the gut. The moment you turned away, something inside him twisted painfully. He had raised his voice at you. He, who had promised to always cherish you, had let Sujin manipulate the moment, and now you were gone. He tried calling you that night, once, twice, dozens of times. Each call rang into the void, met only with silence. His messages remained unread, the little scene indicator never appearing. He knew you were hurt, but the complete shutout made his chest tighten with regret. The next day he showed up outside your house. He knocked, called your name, but there was no answer. He waited for hours, leaning against your door, hoping you would at least acknowledge his presence. You never did. When he left that night, his footsteps were heavy, heart burdened with guilt. Days passed and Jungkook became restless. He tried reaching out to your colleagues, asking if you were okay. He knew you were going to work because he saw a glimpse of you leaving the building, but the moment you spotted him waiting outside, you had turned the other way. It was as if he no longer existed in your world. It drove him insane. He was standing outside your work office. She won't even let me explain, he muttered, running a hand through his disheveled hair. I need to fix this. And so he didn't stop trying. He left flowers at your doorstep, notes apologizing, but none of them were acknowledged. He reached out to your friends, begging them to talk to you, but you had made it clear you didn't want to hear from him. But Jungkook wasn't someone who gave up easily, not when it came to you. When he spotted you walking alone after work, your face tired, your steps slower than usual, he took a deep breath and called out your name, desperation in his voice. You stopped, your back stiffening, but you didn't turn. Wine, please. Jungkook pleaded, stepping closer. Just listen to me once, that's all I ask. You took a deep breath, turning to face Jungkook as he stood there, his eyes desperate, searching yours for something, anything. His lips parted as if he wanted to say something, to plead, but you shook your head, cutting him off before he could even begin. What will you say, Jungkook? Your voice was calm yet thick with the weight of everything you had held inside for so long. What is there left to say? He took a step closer, hands reaching for you, but you took a step back. That hurt him. You saw it in the way his face fell, the way his fingers curled into fist as if he was holding on to the last thread of hope. I can't live like this, you whispered, your voice cracking. I can't stay in a relationship where another woman doesn't respect the boundaries of what we have. And the worst part? You let it happen. Jungkook shook his head instantly, his eyes wide. No, I didn't. You did, Jungkook. You finally snapped, the bottled up frustration pouring out. You hesitated every time she crossed a line. You let her invade our space, our moments, and no matter how much I tried to ignore it, it was always there. Do you know how it feels to sit across from the person you love and watch someone else act like they have the same right over them? To feel like no matter how much I mean to you, she will always come first because you can't even tell her no. Jungkook's breath hitched, his throat bobbing as he swallowed hard. I love you, you know that. Tears welled up in your eyes, but you didn't let them fall. Not yet. I don't doubt your love for me, Jungkook. I never have. But love isn't just about feelings, it's about choices. And you didn't choose me when it mattered most. His hands trembled at his sides. His entire body tensed like he was holding back every emotion, threatening to consume him. I'm sorry, Ryan. Don't do this, please. He pleaded. Please, we can fix this. I'll do everything. I'll set my boundaries. I'll do anything, Ryan. But please don't push me. I can't live without you. You smiled sadly, your heart aching as you reached up, cupping his face one last time. His eyes shut for a moment like he wanted to freeze time, to stay in this touch forever. You should have known, Jungkook. You murmured, letting your hand fall away. You should have known without me having to tell you, and I'm not coming back until you set your priorities, until I know this situation will never come in future again. And if you still can't say no, then goodbye, forget about me. And with that, you turned around and walked away, leaving him standing there, lost in the storm you had tried so hard to endure for far too long. Jungkook stood there frozen, watching you walk away, his heart sinking deeper with every step you took. He had never felt so helpless before. The moment you disappeared from his side, he pulled out his phone, calling you again and again, but you never answered. He texted, apologizing, explaining, begging you to just talk to him, but you shut him out completely. Jungkook realized he had to take action if he wanted to fix everything. He couldn't let you slip away. He knew what he had to do. The first thing he did was confront Sojin. She was sitting in a cafe when Jungkook walked in, his expression unreadable. When she saw him, she smiled like nothing had happened. Jungkook, what happened? You look tense. He looked at her. We need to talk. His voice was firm, leaving no room for argument. Sujin hesitated before nodding. Okay, what's wrong? Jungkook exhaled sharply. You need to stop. Whatever this is, it ends now. She blinked, feigning innocence. What are you talking about? Don't play dumb, Sujin. You knew exactly what you were doing that night. You made her feel small, like she was some outsider in my life and she's the most important person to me. You pushed boundaries and I let you. That was my mistake, but I won't let it happen again. Sujin's smile faltered. Jungkook, I was just... No, he cut her off. You don't get to justify it. If you ever truly cared about me as a friend, you would respect my relationship. And if you can't do that, then I don't need you in my life. I love her, and I won't ever let anyone make her feel like she doesn't belong with me. I don't want to lose her. She's the only one I want to love till my last breath. And still, I hurt her, but not anymore. Sojin looked stunned, her lips parting as if she wanted to argue, but Jungkook was done. He turned and walked away, not looking back. With that weight lifted off his shoulders, he focused on you. For days he showed up outside her workplace waiting. He left notes at her doorstep, small gestures, reminders that he wasn't giving up. He sent you messages not to beg, but to tell you how much he missed you, how much he regretted not setting boundaries earlier. Then one evening you found him standing outside her house, looking exhausted yet determined. You sighed knowing he wouldn't leave unless you talked. What do you want, Jungkook? His eyes softened at the sight of you. You, only you, and I'll do whatever it takes to prove that to you. You hesitated, but something about his voice, about the way he was looking at you, made you listen. I talked to Sujin. I told her everything. She won't interfere again, and even if she tries, I won't let her. I should have done it sooner, and I hate that. I let you feel like you weren't my priority, but you are. You always have been, and if you can find it in your heart to give me one more chance, I promise I'll never let you down again. Your heart clenched at his words. The sincerity, the desperation, it was all there, and you knew deep down that he meant it. After a long silence, you sighed. One chance, Jungkook, just one. His face lit up with relief, and before you could say anything else, he pulled you into his arms, holding you tight as if he never wanted to let go again. And for the first time in a long time, You let yourself believe that maybe, just maybe, this love was worth fighting for. I love you so damn much, and I promise this will never happen again.